like a good one. Yes!
Oklahoma State is back in the NCAA Tournament for the first time since 2005. Now, how long will the Cowboys stay on the dance floor? From the Dodge Sports Desk, I'm Jenny Carlson, and this is the OSU basketball edition of the Bedlam Nation Conversation. Joining me today, OSU beat writer Andrea Cohen and columnist John Rohde. They'll be following the Cowboys in Dayton, Ohio this week. All right, guys, let's talk about seeding, first of all, for the Cowboys. A number 8 seed going to Dayton. Andrea, does that seem about right for the Cowboys?
I think that seems about right. I could have seen it being anywhere from 7 to 9, just kind of depending, but then some random teams won conference tournaments, and 8 seems fair to me.
Yeah, and it's an 8 versus 9. That means it's a toss-up. It's supposed to be. I actually think 9s have the advantage a little bit through time. But the interesting thing here, as Andrea wrote today, third time in 4 years they faced each other, but OSU's had 3 different coaches. Tennessee's had the same coach, so I don't know who gets the advantage there.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this matchup with the Vols. Is this a team that OSU, with their largely guard lineup, Andrea, will have a chance to defeat in the first round?
Yeah, it's not a bad matchup for them. I mean, it'll be a fast game, but they like that. And they have the advantage as far as shooting threes. I think they shoot a much higher percentage from 3. So if it's a fast-paced game, that could be to their advantage. It's not a terrible matchup. And there are teams that are terrible matchups for OSU. It's one of those teams where certain things don't go well. But I think that this is a pretty decent matchup for them.
And Tennessee is pouting right now. They won the SEC, and they go, we're a 9. We're a 9, you know. And yeah, you lost 12 games, guys. You're a 9, and you're in. That's all that matters when you're a middle seed. You just do the best you can. But like Andrea was saying, if it's a fast-paced game, last year, Tennessee was fast-paced, but I think they've lost 2 Smiths and Chris Lofton since a year ago when they were more fast-paced. But OSU is actually faster-paced than Tennessee.
Wow. Well, we knew that was something Travis Ford was going to try to do, was to speed up the tempo. Now it looks like it's paying dividends. They might face, though, a team that has one of the best inside games in the second round. If the seeds hold, OSU wins, and Pittsburgh wins, that becomes a second-round matchup for the Cowboys. What about that potential matchup, guys?
That's what I was saying. There are bad matchups for OSU. That's what I meant by that.
I couldn't think of anything worse, truthfully. The most physical, indoor-oriented, inside-oriented team, a basketball team playing football in basketball season. That's not the kind of team that OSU needs to face.
No, and they played Pitt 2 years ago in Pittsburgh, so it's, well, and actually 2 of the last 3 years too.
That's right.
But that game, OSU was in it until 10 minutes to go. They ended up losing by 25, and you walked away from that thinking, that wasn't that bad. I mean, Juwan Blair is a beast.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about beyond the idea of can they win a first-round game, could they beat Pitt in the second round, just the importance of getting in for this program. Andrea, I know you've written extensively about this over the last few weeks, but the Cowboys hadn't been in the tournament since 2005. Just how big was it for them to see their names on the board on selection?
It was a really big deal, especially for the 2 fourth-year seniors, for Byron Eaton and Terrell Harris. I think that was just a kind of a huge relief to them, that was kind of something that everybody said about them. Those guys never got to the NCAA tournament, and they felt like kind of they'd brought the program down, so I think it felt really good for them to kind of get it back. And I think for the coaching staff in their first year, they're pretty pleased.
Yeah, it would have been the first 4-year class since 1990 not to get to the NCAA. That would have been a pretty heavy burden to bear, but like we've said all year, if they get to the NCAA tournament, Jenny, it could be considered a success, and then everything after there, you're playing on the house's money, and that's where they're at right now. So they can chill out, they can relax, and just do what they do. Maybe it'll help them.
Yeah, and this is a team that has been pretty hot. I mean, they won a game, they won 2 games in the Big 12 tournament. One that I think a lot of people never expected them to win in that Bedlam game.
In 8 of their last 10.
They have to feel pretty good about their chances, don't they, Andrea?
I think so. I mean, kind of why not? It's just like John's saying. It's kind of one of those things where you met the real goal, and then go try to win some games.
Yeah.
And then but the weird thing is that one of the finest 3-point shooting teams, Jenny, in the country, missed their first 16 threes in the last game they played. Now that, like Jenny wrote, that's tired legs. Yeah. That throws off your shot big time. But now they could be totally rejuvenated. They could really be a wild card just for this game. I don't think they'll ever get past Pitt under the best of circumstances. But this game, I can absolutely see them having a shot.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. Andrea and John will follow the Cowboys throughout the NCAA tournament. For all the news and analysis, stay with the best coverage team anytime at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.